Thank you for joining the session. We'll be starting in a minute. I wish to thank everyone for joining us today. We'll be starting in a minute. Okay, I think there are plenty of people that have already joined us here on Zoom and on social media. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this webinar named From Solar Generation to Storage, an in-depth exploration of SSA solar energy future. This webinar is sponsored by Jinko Solar, the leading global energy company that is active in the solar PV, energy storage, among other applications. I'll introduce myself. My name is Munif Barakat. I'm from Solar Arabic, which is the most visited renewable energy platform dedicated for the MEA region. I'm happy that you joined us here on Zoom, and I want to make sure that you can hear me well. So please write in chat if you can hear my voice well. And for those that are on social media, then please write it in a comment if the voice is clear. I see that Mr. Anas, Ms. Amy, Ms. Kissy, they are confirming. Thank you for that. If you have any friends that can't join us actually on Zoom today for a reason or another, that they can watch us on social media, we'll be live on, especially on Jinko Solar's Sub-Saharan Africa page on Facebook. I hope that everyone is following that, and I will be sending the link there so you could follow Jinko's page that is dedicated for the Sub-Saharan Africa. We will have a recording of this session, and you will receive an email within 2 days with the link to the recording, so you can all watch that later on in case you miss any part of the session today. A couple of administrative stuff. I'd like first to ask you all to use the chat to introduce yourself. So also it's an opportunity to network with like-minded people who are interested in this topic. Please use the chat function to introduce yourself. That would be a good idea to tell us from what country are you, what company, and what are you interested in. And if you have questions to the panelists today, then please make sure to send this question in the Q&A section in Zoom, not in the chat section. This way we'll be able to track these questions and make sure that we answer that in the Q&A section in the last 15 minutes of the session today. And if you are watching us now on social media, please write your question in the comment section, and our team will pick this up, and we'll be happy to answer any question that we receive there as well. For the start, I'd like, before we get into the webinar, to get to know the viewers today. So I'll be running a couple of quick polls in here, and you should be seeing the question on the screen. Tell us from what region are you? Unfortunately, we cannot set the countries here because the platform limits us with only 10 options. So if you tell us from what region, especially in Africa, you are, then we'll be very happy to also understand and have a feeling of the audience today. I see that at least like 70% of the audience are from different regions of Africa, from all of them, from Northwest, Central, East, and the Southern Africa. Very happy to have you all on board. And in the next question, I'd like to know, please, your industry. So if you are working for a developer, an EPC, a service provider, and if you are on social media, please write that as a comment. We would be happy to also know the background of the audience on all of these platforms. I see that the majority of the votes that come now are for EPCs, so 28% EPCs. We have like 5% developers. We have like 15% from the public sector, 15% consultants, and we see some service providers and installers around 10%. So happy to have you all on board today, and I'm sure that this webinar will relate to your work in one way or another, and we're always happy to have your feedback as we move forward. Basically today embark on a profound journey, shedding the light on crux of energy solutions within the African sub-Saharan region, the importance of value distribution in the solar sector, innovative storage solution, and the value of combining solar with battery energy storage systems, something that we receive many questions like about that. Does it make sense to combine these? We have an esteemed panel today, with each bringing a unique perspective to the table, from Andre's insights on the drivers of energy demand to James's revelations on distributors' role in the solar ecosystem, Paulina's introduction of Jinko's latest storage offerings and modules, and Kumar Adish's case study on combining the PV with energy storage, which I hope will answer a lot of questions that we typically receive about combining both technologies. So buckle up and get ready, and we will delve deep into the realms of solar energy and energy storage. And I hope that you find this very informative, you learn something from it. And also, if you have any feedback or questions, then we have the opportunity in the last 15 minutes to do that. Today, I'm very honored to have a panel of a lot of, let's say, experts from the region, covering the manufacturing of solar equipment and energy storage, distribution and EPC. We'll start with Mr. Andre Adrianis from Jinko Solar, who'll be talking more about the SADC market and the demand for the solar and energy storage solutions. Then we will have James Shirley from Darko Energy, that will explain the importance of this value-added distribution, and a lot of, let's say, advantages that you can get in the industry once you deal with the right partner to source the equipment for your projects. And then we'll move to Pauline Mew from the Jinko Solar team that will be introducing the storage solutions of Jinko Solar for both the residential and the CNI sectors, and we're presenting some reference projects, mainly also in Africa. And then we'll move to Adish Kumar, that will be speaking from the EPC perspective, with the main case study about combining solar with energy storage. With that, I don't want to take any further, let's say, time from you. I believe that we have the majority of the participants have already joined the session, and I'm very happy to introduce first speaker, Andre Adrianse, who will be walking us through the demand drivers in the SADC region for solar and energy storage. Hello, Andre. We'll be happy to have your presentation on the screen and get a quick intro from you as well.
Hi, good afternoon. Let me just turn on my video. Hope you guys can see me and hear me. Is everything good?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you very much, Munef. Let me get into my presentation. My name is Andre Adriansa. I'm the ESS Sales Manager at Jinko for the SADC region. And I'd like to discuss today the need for energy storage in the SADC region. Quick facts around the SADC region. Just to touch on this, this is specific to the SADC region, but would apply to the greater Africa at large. I think a lot of the issues that we face in the SADC is generally issues that we face throughout Africa as well. So the SADC region, it consists of 16 countries, a land size of 556,000 square kilometers, population of 345 million, annual GDP growth of 1.8%, inflation of 7.1%. Our exports, 45% goes to Asia, 27% to EU, 15% to the rest of the world, 10% to intra-SADC, and 3% to the rest of Africa. The Southern African Development Community, which stands as SADC region, stands at a critical juncture with its tremendous potential for sustainable economic growth and development. One of the most pressing challenges it's facing is meeting the ever-increasing energy demand to power its industries, households, and communities. The region faces significant energy challenges, including unreliable power supply, which we call load shedding, limited access to electricity, and heavily dependent on fossil fuels. To address the issues and propel sustainable development, it is crucial for the SADC region to prioritize investment in energy storage solutions. This presentation will explore the reasons why ESS investments are essential, highlighting their potential to revolutionize the energy landscape, foster economic growth, and enhance energy security to mitigate climate change impacts. So if we look at the energy demand in SADC, the SADC region is on a steady, the energy demand in SADC has been on a steady rise. One of that factors is population growth. The population at the moment is 354 million and is projected to double by 2043 to 618 million. This will apply a lot of pressure on our already strained grid for basic electrical needs such as lighting, cooking, heating, and other essential needs. Energy demand as well, in electrification of rural areas. Many rural areas in the SADC region still lack access to electricity. If you look at the stats, only 32% of rural areas in the region have access to electricity. This falls far behind the African figures. Africa has approximately electrified 50% of its region, with North Africa achieving 100% electrification. So if you look at the graph there below, the countries with a higher electrification is all your smaller countries. Eswatini is a very small country, basically surrounded by South Africa. Mauritius, a very small island with 99% electrification, as well as Seychelles. South Africa achieved 94% electrification distribution, however, has an unstable grid. If you look at some of the key players or the higher populating countries, as well as the larger countries, such as DRC, you'll see that DRC only has a 9% electrification in its country. Malawi has 13%, and then Tanzania is only at 40%. So we're hovering around the 30–40% mark of electrification in the SADC region. Cost implications. The electrical shortage has been strained in the region since 2007. So if you look at the graph on the right, this is specific to South Africa and Eskom, which is our main utility or our only utility. In 2007, it went through what we call the electricity crisis. You can see the Eskom tariff increased by 653%, whereas inflation increased by only 129%. The energy production, there remains a significant disparity between energy production and consumption. So if you look at the left there, from about 1992, this is also specific to South Africa, but also incorporates a lot of the SADC region struggles. Since about 1992 to about 2007, there was an increase in production of electricity. Since about 2009, we're seeing a downward trajectory with regards to the production of electricity. So yes, the consumption and the need for electricity is increasing, but our production is decreasing. The environmental imperative, reducing fossil fuel dependency. Many countries in the SADC region still rely heavily on fossil fuels. So if you look at the graph below, the light red is for hydro, the black is for oil, and then the dark red or maroon is for coal. And that constitutes about 90% of the makeup of the energy production for SADC region. If you look at hydro as well, you can see it's quite prominent there. And this is in a region that is suffering with drought. So that's not a sustainable solution as well. Environmental imperative. The SADC region is not immune to global challenge of climate change. Investing in energy storage solutions aligns with the region's commitment to sustainable development and the transition to a low-carbon economy. Energy storage technologies can play a crucial role in integrating renewable energy sources into the grid, reducing greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating the adverse impacts of climate change. Renewable energy storage solutions such as wind and solar are intermittent by nature, creating challenges in matching supply with demand. ESS, or energy storage solutions, provides a means to address this issue by storing excess energy during periods of high production and releasing it during when demands exceed supply. The economic benefits for ESS, apart from environmental benefits, there's economical benefits as well. Job creation, energy security, and grid stability. Job creation, with implementation of ESS, will need a number of skilled labor in the areas for rural electrification. This will enhance entrepreneurship and give people a better growth of life, if I can say it that way. Energy security, energy storage solutions enhance energy security by providing a stable and reliable power supply. This stability attracts foreign direct investment and supports the growth of existing industries. Additionally, it reduces the risk of economic disruption caused by energy shortages and blackouts. When it comes to grid stability, energy storage systems can enhance the stability of the region's electrical grid. This is essential for efficient functioning of industries, businesses, and critical infrastructure. If you are from the SADC region, I'm sure you've heard horror stories of a number of countries, companies that have closed their doors due to load shedding, that weren't able to sustain their business due to the lack of power. If you look at manufacturing plants, bakeries, petrol stations, they all need a stable grid in order to function efficiently. Economic benefits of ESS. Investing in energy storage solutions have the potential to stimulate economic growth and enhance the competitiveness in the SADC region. Energy-intensive industries such as mining, manufacturing, and agriculture require a stable and affordable power supply to operate efficiently and remain competitive in a global market. ESS solutions can provide a necessary stability, allowing industries to avoid disruptions and optimize their production process. Furthermore, energy storage solutions can facilitate the expansion of decentralized renewable energy solutions, such as mini-grids and off-grids. These are specific more to your rural areas, where the energy extension from the grid is not economically viable. Opportunities. Energy demand and supply gap. As I mentioned, with load shedding, South Africa faces significant challenges in meeting its growing energy demands due to insufficient power generation capacity. Frequent power outages and blackouts are common, affecting industries, businesses, and households. Electrification initiative. Governments in the region are actively promoting rural electrification and access to electricity, creating a growing demand for off-grid and mini-grid solutions. Mining industry. SADC and Africa is home to numerous mining operations, which are very energy intensive. These industries are increasingly seeking reliable power sources, and we can also introduce peak shaving solutions to them as well to reduce the impact or strain on the grid. Environmental concerns. There's a growing awareness for environmental issues and a desire to reduce carbon emissions, driving investment in cleaner energy alternatives.
Andre, if you please wrap up in a minute so we stay on time, please.
100%.
Thanks.
So we'll have the international investments as well. In conclusion, investing in energy solutions is not a luxury, but a necessity for the SADC region and Africa at large. As energy demands continue to surge and the imperative of environmental stability and economic development become increasingly apparent, there is no time to waste. By examining the statistics of energy demand, acknowledging the environmental imperative, it is evident that energy storage is a critical component for the region's energy future. In conclusion, the SADC region must act now to secure a future where energy is abundant, clean, and reliable. The time for investment in energy storage solutions is today, and the benefits will be felt for generations to come. Thank you very much, and that's my presentation.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Andre. Thank you for the motivating presentation, because really the time is now, and the technology is ready, the market is ready, and I think there is no reason to delay if there is demand for it. And I believe that the remaining parts of this presentation will shed the light if people will start asking, okay, then how do we do it? Now we're gonna go and delve a little bit into that in details, where we'll be moving the presentation to James Shirley from Hudako Energy, that will be telling us about the value-added distribution for solar equipment. Thank you, Andre. We'll get back to you in the Q&A.
Thank you.
I'll hand over to you then, James.
Thank you, Manit. Hi, good day to everybody, wherever you are. My name is James, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Your voice was better when we were testing. I don't know, it's not very audible now.
Not yet, see if I can try it again.
Is this a little bit better?
Oh, much better, much better. Thank you. This is fantastic. Thanks, James.
No problem. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is James Shirley. I'm the MD of a company called Hudako Energy. And what I'm going to do today is introduce the company to you first, not to push our company, but rather to give context as to why the decisions that we make on which products we carry are so important to us as a group. And I think with the number of EPCs that we see on here, this would be highly relevant to you as well. I've walked a long journey. I know to some of the participants, Kevin, Alex, you've been around for a very long time as well in this industry. And I'm sure we'll all agree that we've seen a lot and learned a lot. And every day we try and get a little bit better. So Hudako, at a glance, the last year's results, we did about $500 million US dollars as revenue, not all in my own business, but in our group, with roughly 3,500 staff members in the group, branches across South Africa, where we primarily focus, even though we do have some customers and clients through Southern Africa. South Africa is our primary area of operations. And what we specialize in as a group for over 120 years, in fact, is what we call value-added distribution. There are a lot of box-moving companies that just distribute. However, value-added distribution is importation, local warehousing, local training, local certification, obviously local distribution. But then most importantly for us is ongoing support, ongoing service, and we often, and in most cases, actually manage the warranty process for our clients, and then we go back and we engage with the OEMs. For us, mean time to repair and first time fix rate for our customers is absolutely key. Sometimes we don't always get it right, but that's something that we strive for across our company. What is it that we do in Hudako Energy? Well, we offer pre-designed solar and storage systems, focusing on grid tie CNI systems, hybrid systems for CNI and residential, and now storage systems for the CNI market. You'll notice an absence of grid tie systems for the residential market. In South Africa, we don't have a feed-in tariff, certainly nothing to speak about anyway. And because of our continued load shedding or continued outages, enforced outages in areas, there really is no need for that type of a solution. Even the grid-tied CNI solutions that we offer, not just us, but throughout South Africa, in most cases, they are integrated with diesel gensets to create the reference voltage and frequency. And then the PV plant will just come back up online. Of course, the products and components that we offer, inverters, modules, battery storage, or PCSs in case if we're combining inverters, modules, batteries, mounting structures, and balance of plant and accessories. What we focus on as part of our value-added offer is we look for standardized systems that are designed to optimize for cost and reliability. We understand that we can look at fully engineered systems. For us, we prefer standardized systems where from panel to AC connection point, we're looking at getting the best return on investment and the highest level of reliability for our clients. So how do we do that? Well, we make sure that we have agreements with tier 1 suppliers only. We focus on the C&I and residential markets. We are not, it's very important to know, we are not an EPC or an installer, and we do not participate in utility scale projects from our side. We do, however, have our own service and support teams to aid on commissioning support, warranty situations, and on-site training and support for our partners. The latest evolution of our brand now is we've lost touch with the end user. And because we've now begun offering finance solutions, in other words, rent-to-own solutions, not just on residential, but in fact on projects up to $3 million for clients, we are able to offer the complete supply chain, which means we work even closer with the EPC partners that will actually execute those projects. And then finally, in all cases, whether it's the EPC partner that we're working with, the financier that's demanding our balance sheet that they want to give the loan against, or the end user that looks to us to provide them with this reliable system, we have to make sure that they perform well and that all of our warranties are looked after back to back. So what are the things that we actually look for in a supplier? Well, we want to know that the supplier is bankable, right? There's so many new companies out there. We have to know, are the warranties actually worth the paper they're written on? The second thing is, are the products fit for purpose? Are they applicable and are they compliant for us? Also, do they meet our brand expectations, not just as a distributor, but do they meet our clients' expectation of us as a brand that they trust? We look for backup support. I've worked in my career with several companies where there's just been none. And of course, that's the last time we work with them. We're not, as a group, interested in a quick buck. That seems to be a lot of people looking at that at the moment. But for us, that's not our focus. We're looking for long-term partnerships where we add value to the OEM, in other words, the manufacturer. We add value to the EPC or the installer. And of course, we add value to the end user for many, many years. With that said, now that we know what we're looking for in a supplier, what are we looking for in the products we select? So this title or this slide is called Interfaces and Accountability. And the reason for that is I'm sure everybody recognizes something like this on a project. What we found is most often the issues we face is on the interface between the various products. And coming from South Africa, the moment that happens, we call for support. Everybody forgets how to speak English, including, by the way, the countries where English is the native language. And of course, everybody points fingers at everybody else and says, oh, you didn't do this, or that didn't do this, or this was wrong, or something which may not have anything to do with the actual fault, but suddenly nobody is to blame. As a brand, we can't accept that, right? So we've looked around very long, we've looked around very hard, and what we found is something really, really neat, right? We found a company where from the modules all the way through to installation and commissioning, we can look at and rely on a single supplier, a single brand, which is designed and engineered to give us a total solution. And that if we face an issue, there's one phone call, there's one point of accountability, one project or client or account manager, and we have our issues sorted out. For us, as a brand where we have $500 million a year worth of clients looking to us and trusting us, the fact that we can do the same to another bankable company adds an enormous amount of value to us, especially when we're talking about storage and the values that go with the storage solutions. That's critical. And I expect for most of you on this call, something like that is going to be really important as well. Another thing that we really, really love is the simple design and quoting options that we get from the indoor solution. For us, it's very simple. We select the rating of the PCS from 50 to 500 kVA. Of course, we can parallel up to 4 of those. So it becomes very simple once we've done our checks to support the EPC. We select the PCS. We select the battery sizing. We know how many do we need to put, ranging from 135 up to 1.62 megawatt hours of storage. And then we finally select the applicable combiner box. And it's as simple as that. It gives us a Lego or a menu system that allows us to quote our EPC partners in a few minutes instead of days or hours. So in conclusion, I think I've got about a minute left. What we found and the reason we really, really enjoy the Jinko offer is the Lego kit, that design philosophy for the indoor solution. Gives us quick and easy system selection. We know that the products are going to work together, and we have all of the technical documentation ready at hand to quote our clients within that same day as the request. Not only do we have a reduced time to quote, but we have to deal with fewer suppliers in order to get our pricing to our client. It also makes it very easy for us to keep stock of standard systems. So rather than having to wait for a system to be built, factory acceptance tested in a container, loaded on a ship and shipped to site, we have the ability to keep a lot of stock and to release it very quickly, very easily. And finally, and very important for EPCs with SLAs in place, we can stock spare parts that can be deployed quickly to multiple different systems for reduced overall cost and faster repair times.
Amazing. Thank you very much, James, for this presentation and for bringing it up, this compatibility issue, because we've seen a lot of problems where we have multiple systems connected to each other, and then you start calling one party, they tell you, you call the battery guys, they tell you it's the inverter guys, you call inverter guys, they tell you the opposite. So it's really like a problem that is happening now all around the world to find right compatibility between the parts. And it's interesting to see that there is a company that provides that suite, let's say, of products together, and a company like Odarco Energy that is actually focusing on this, integrating this solution together to the customers to remove that layer of complexity that becomes totally unnecessary. Thank you for that, James. I really appreciate your time. We'll get back to you in the Q&A section, okay?
Thank you.
And I'll move directly to Pauline Mu from Jinko Solar that will actually tell us what are the products that Jinko Solar provides for both solar and energy storage. And I think that is a very good time to remind the audience as well. If you have any questions, please post them directly in the Q&A section in a written format, because we won't be opening the microphone. I see some hands raised. We have a lot of people, we can't do that. So please send your questions in the Q&A section so we could answer that in the last 10 to 15 minutes. Pauline, welcome again. Happy to have you on board, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Monef, and thank you everyone for being here. As Monef has mentioned, my name is Pauline Mu, and I am the ESS Sales Manager across East Africa. I will be taking you through the Jinko ESS storage solutions that we currently have at the market. Okay. So at Jinko, we pride ourselves as being the first company to produce silicon materials processing to wafer, cell, and module production in the industry. So far, we have 14 global production bases, some in China, others in United States, another in Malaysia and Vietnam. So as of 2022, the fourth quarter, our company has effectively produced 4 gigawatt hours of ESS solutions. That is in 2023, this current year, and in 2024, 12 gigawatt hours. This is for the ESS production. For the monocrystalline silicon wafers, we have produced 45 gigawatt. For the cells, we have produced 75 gigawatt also. And for the modules, we have produced 90 gigawatt. So the current ESS solutions that we have, it is categorized in 3 categories. Yeah, that is the residential ESS, the C&I, and the utility scale solution. So for the residential, we have between 1 kilowatt hour to 50 kilowatt hours. For C&I, we have 50 kilowatt hours up to 2 megawatt hours. And for the utility scale, we have above 2 megawatt hours. So for our residential products that we currently have, we have hybrid inverters, that is the low voltage hybrid inverters, and the high voltage hybrid inverters. So this ranges from 3.6 kilowatt up to 12 kilowatt, that is for the hybrid inverters. We also have battery modules categorized into two. We have the 4.8 kilowatt hours and the 5.12 kilowatt hours. So an example of the 4.8 kilowatt hours, I'll just take you through the key specifications. For the 4.8 kilowatt hours and also for the 5.12 kilowatt hours, you can parallel the battery modules up to 16 of them to achieve about 76 kilowatt hours. So this battery, it has an inbuilt management system. So which makes it better for energy monitoring and also for the battery performance. So for the specifications of this battery, of course, the technology is a lithium iron phosphate. It has a cell capacity of 100 Ah, 48 volts. This battery has life cycle of 6,000. Now this is definitely based on now the requirements where you need to at least consider that its temperature conditions, which should be about 25 degrees Celsius, for us to optimize this battery at 6,000 cycles. So the warranty of this battery is currently at 10 years. Right. So for the inverter, for the low voltage inverter, the range is between 3 kilowatt up to 6 kilowatt. So we have the 3, 3.6, 4, 4.6, 5, and 6 kilowatt system. So this system, this inverter, it supports a parallel connection of up to 6 inverters, and it is also compatible with a diesel generator. So the battery voltage range of this inverter is between 40 to 58 volts, and the maximum current input is around 14 amperes. So the more details of this inverter, we can get it from the data sheets that we currently have. So this is a basic configuration of our system. We have the solar panels. We have our batteries here. So we have an input from the solar panels, an input from the batteries, an input from the grid, and now an output to the load. So for the C&I solutions that we currently have, we have categorized them into two technologies. We have the air-cooled technology and the liquid-cooled technology. So this is a product list of the air-cooled technology. And for our products, this is a list of the standard products that we currently have at the market. So for the inverters, we have from 50 kilowatt hybrid inverter up to 500 kilowatt inverter. By the way, these codes means the JKS means Jinko Solar, 69K means 69 kilowatt hours. Now this is the battery capacity, and the 50H means the PCS capacity. So 50 hybrid inverter. So as you can see, it ranges from the hybrid inverters, PCS, they range from 50 kilowatt hours up to 500 kilowatt hours. This can be paralleled up to four of them to achieve up to 2 megawatt system. And for the battery capacity, our smallest is under the C&I solution is a 69 kilowatt hour, and our biggest is a 1.6 megawatt hour. So also for the batteries, they can be paralleled up to 4 packs of them to achieve a maximum of 6.4 megawatt hours. So for the air-cooled, this is just the product images, actual images of the products, how they look. So the cell specification of it, it's a 96 Ah, 3.2 volts, the cell capacity. So for our systems, they come with a modular design. They come as they are containerized solutions, and they're already pre-configured solutions. So it is easy to install and operate the system. And we also have the EMS system. So there is a cloud monitoring platform where you can manage your you can manage your product or your system remotely. Okay. So for the liquid cooled technology, we have 2 systems, that is of 1500 volts system and of 1000 volt system. So for the 15 volt system, its capacity is at 344 kilowatt hour system. So currently we have these 2 systems, the 344 and the 215 kilowatt hour system. And for the liquid cooled battery, it doesn't come with a PCS. Unlike for the air cooled technology, it is inclusive of the PCS inside of the container. The air cooled system comes as the battery packs only, and now you can purchase the PCS as a separate product. So for this, it's also very flexible. You can parallel this system, and also at the operation temperatures, it also should be within 25 degrees Celsius to achieve the maximum cycles of it.
Pauline, if it is possible to wrap up in 1-2 minutes, please.
Okay. For the utility solution that we have the 3.4 megawatt hour system. This is for the utility. Its discharge duration is above 6 hours, and it is also very easy to configure. The cell capacity is at 280 Ah at 3.6 volts. So for this, you can also do the AC to DC coupled solution. It can go with either. Also to note, the batteries, the system doesn't come with a PCS, so you'll have to purchase the PCS separately. So in conclusion, what am I saying? For our technology, currently what we are using the LFP, the lithium iron phosphate technology, and it gives excellent life cycles. Also, this product comes as a pre-configured system, which is easy to install, and the performance warranty is above 10 years. So some of the projects that we've done one in Nigeria, which is a 250 kilowatt, 945 kilowatt hour system. We have done another in Mozambique, 100 kilowatt, 640 kilowatt hour system. In Kenya, one in Kenya at Narok, 100 kilowatt, 135 kilowatt hour system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pauline. I appreciate this presentation. I'm sorry we're trying to rush
It's okay.
a bit so we could keep the time in here. It was also impressive, the range of products that you offer at Jinko Solar, from the small, let's say, smaller ones for CNI, the average ones, up to the bigger ones at utility scale. And you offer also solutions with multiple C factors. I've seen like some 1 hour batteries and some 4 hours batteries. It's interesting to see that the company provides all of these ranges that would be suitable definitely for the different applications of energy storage, because it's not always one case, right, in the end. Thank you, Pauline. We'll move now to speak about one of these cases. And always one of the feedback that we receive from the audience is sometimes when we talk about certain products and solutions, but we don't talk about a practical example or a case, then that becomes kind of upsetting. But we're happy today to have Adish Kumar, who will be today speaking about a case study where we combine energy storage with solar. And Adish Kumar is from Paras Energy, one of the leading EPCs and developers in Africa. And I would like to hand over the presentation to you, please.
Thanks, Manif. I hope I'm
Thanks.
audible and my presentation is visible.
Yeah, all perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. So good afternoon, everyone. So I think we are running out of time, but I'll not take much of your time. The idea of doing this presentation is actually to showcase what Manif told, that what PV and storage can add value to any industry. So today I'm going to share a success story of a mid-scale industry in Nigeria, which was struggling with the change in fuel prices and the other dynamic situation. So this story is all about achieving them energy security. So before we start, just a brief about Paras Energy. So Paras Energy is in Nigeria for more than 20 years now, and we are one of the leading EPC company in terms of solar. Apart from solar, we are into gas-based IPP, and we sell to the grid. We have more than 150 megawatt of installed capacity in gas, and in solar, we have done more than 20 megawatt and another 20 megawatt in pipeline. We are targeting to do around 400 megawatt in next 2 years. So let's talk about this success story. So this success story is about a company called HFP, which is in Lagos region of Nigeria, in Lekki side. And let's talk about the customer. This company is running for almost 24 hours and each in 7 days. And then they have load of around 250 kilowatt. Now this industry has industrial load and completely inductive load. And the main problem with this was there was no grid connectivity, and they were running completely on diesel generator. So there were other options available of going ahead with CNG with gas gens, but rather than going with CNG and gas gen operations, they chosen PV plus storage. And then I'll show you how it can actually is adding value to overall business. So the main reason for moving into solar plus storage system is to have the energy security. When we talk about the energy security, means they want to have protection about, from the increasing cost of diesel. You know, in Nigeria, diesel cost is almost 4 times. Now it is going almost 5 times in the last 2 years. That is huge. Then the maintenance cost and all those things, again, is again a challenge. And if you are in a remote location, calling the maintenance guy, and if they are not coming up, your complete industry will be shut down for more than 1 or 2 days. And that was actually happening in this industry. So let's say they had 2 500 kV DG. They used to run 12 hours, such that they can give enough cooling time for this DG. And if one DG was down because of some reason, so they have an outage of more than 12 hours. That was directly affecting their bottom line, because they had their commitments to the customer and they were not able to fulfill their demand. Moving forward, they also thought about this because they want to do the expansion. And when somebody want to do expansion, they always think about, okay, let's do the minimum as of now and keep the solution modular, such that we can anytime scale it up. like this kind of flexibility they wanted, and that's the reason we went ahead for solar plus storage. Definitely, yes, there was a climate angle, but mostly in Nigeria, people are as of now struggling for you can say to set up the industry to run there. But yes, going forward, when we are talking about COP27 and other things, this industry are also looking for some kind of solution which can add value in terms of carbon saving. So, okay, so let me give a brief about this. The total capacity of the project was 1 megawatt peak, and we have a 945 kilowatt hour of Jinko storage solution. This generates around 1.1 million units of energy per annum. Plus, they have around 1,836 solar modules. Now, this 945 kilowatt hours storage is actually scalable up to 1350 because there is provision of addition of 3 more modules. So total 7 modules of 7 racks of 135 kilowatt hour each with 500 kV PCS. And with this, they are actually saving around 1,200 ton of CO2 equivalent per annum. The projected life of this project is more than 15 years. Yes, there will be for storage, there will be replacement time maybe after 10 years, but that is already considered because the amount of saving that they're having in terms of energy cost, this was absolutely acceptable by them. Talking about the technical of this project, okay, so the reason why Jinko. So there could be different solutions. So what James told initially that, okay, we need to have someone to add actually value to from starting from PV up to the final supply. And that's where we also thought Jinko is the right partner because from EPC point of view, we also think about how we can actually avoid this kind of situation where everybody is giving blame to the other party, like PV model, the inverter guy to the storage and that sort of things. That's the advantage when you go forward with a company like Jinko, which give end-to-end solution. And our target is also to actually solve customer problem rather than just providing any solution. So the first focus is to provide a reliable solution with high availability and low failure rate. And that was provided by Jinko. Thermal management, definitely, because there are a lot of discussion going on. If you have an outdoor solution where if battery temperatures go high, then there are chances of fire. So whoever is providing this kind of thermal management system with air cool and now this nitrogen cooling coming up is always beneficial. 1C battery, that is again a very good advantage going ahead with Jinko. You can actually go up to 10% SOC with more than 5,000 cycles. Talking about from the O&M considerations, like we did the installation in O&M. From that point of view, I think nobody talked about, but once some of the things are very, very important is like, what is the product warranty life? So Jinko, I think, is the only one in the industry who is providing more than 10 years warranty for the solutions. Again, the footprints, because this industry now, the storage take a lot of space. So we need to figure out which is the ideal one. Now, people talk about LFP also. But if that LFP is containerized, the total footprint, the storage space is less. That is very, very crucial for any industry because the land cost and the space is very, very constrained in this area. Now, talking about the maintenance, yes, the maintenance should be as easy as possible. And on top of that, EPC company like us always look forward to after-sale support because it's not only we are providing just delivering the solution, we also provide warranty services to our customers. So if we have after-sale support from good companies like Jinko, we can actually gain customer trust. So that was the major reason we went ahead, and Jinko has actually provided out of the box. They went ahead and provided after-sales and commissioning support. In fact, after commissioning till date, we are on the chat and they provide us guidance on how to operate it. Now, let's talk about the commercial one because that is very, very important. That with this solution, the levelized cost of electricity for this company was less than 15 cents. I don't know whether you know or not, in Nigeria as of now, if you're running diesel gensets, your cost of electricity is almost more than 35 cents as of now, with diesel cost going more than $1 in Nigeria. Talking about the other aspect, the payback with respect to diesel saving that they are doing, it's more than 3 years. And then this gives almost 10 years free of cost electricity for this company. So they invested everything, and then almost 10 years they were free. And this is the amount of saving they had per annum, around 0.3 billion naira. So it's almost like $300,000 per annum. So before I end, so the idea of doing is to showcase what value storage PV and storage system can add to an industry. And this industry, now after we install it, their EBITDA margin has increased quite a lot. I cannot say the number, but it was a significant number, and they are very happy, and they are looking forward to expand their business. So that's how this kind of solution can add value to the system and industry. Thank you, Munif.
Thank you very much, Adish Kumar. I really appreciate your input in here. It's always good to see in practically how such systems are implemented. And you've already answered some of the questions that we have received about the profitability and how economical it is actually to install solar. And you've spoken about the plus storage, and you have talked about a specific case of replacing diesel generators, right? So in the context of Nigeria, and how you could save approximately $300,000 per year. For what size of a project is that in general?
So this was the saving was calculated with respect to the diesel they were burning. They were running 500 kVA diesel generator per day.
On daily basis.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. I'll get back to you now. We are running out of time. We have 3 minutes left, but I would like to ask the attendees to give us 2-3 more minutes of their time, so we can go through a round of, let's say, questions, at least one round, so we could engage again with the esteemed panel that we have today. And I will start with Andre, please. Andre, I've got a question, like if the solar and energy storage, this combination, or mainly talking about energy storage, is that something that just replaces the generators, or could it to save costs, or is there any other application for it, let's say in the context of the African grid, mainly in the SADC region? And I have Mr. Nurdin asking about this providing service to the grid and to provide grid flexibility. So do you see that as a legitimate sector, let's say in the SADC region?
So as James mentioned, in the SADC region, we don't have access to a reliable grid. So our solutions, we'd recommend using a genset to couple it with our solution, just for access to a constant supply of electricity. So yes, our solutions can be coupled with a genset and used in combination with our ESS solutions as well as PV.
Mm-hmm. And for when it comes to the profitability of these projects, if we talk in the sense of, let's say, what could be for a CNI customer, what would be the typical payback period for installing solar and energy storage to replace their diesel systems, or yeah.
Okay, so for that one, the client can just maybe send me an email and I can get back to him, because it depends on which region you're in, the cost of diesel in that region, the tariff costs that he's currently being charged. Is he a high demand customer? In South Africa, we get high peak demand, and what the tariff is on that. But if you're looking at, if I can give a blanket cost, it could be about 3 to 5 years that the system gets paid off for itself.
Yeah, in line with what Adish Kumar has also explained in his case, I think that's more or less the payback period in the region. Thank you for that, Andre. I'd like then now probably move to James to ask a question. As you operate regionally in as Odeco Energy, And there are multiple, let's say, regulatory requirements. Like I have questions like from Peter asking, are these, let's say, equipment that you talked about NRS certified, and so on? This goes on with every country having its own, let's say, regulations. What is the role of that Darko Energy is playing in order to facilitate that, so you get the right equipment that is actually approved in the target market? And here speaking country specific concerns.
So I mean, we're very lucky that Jinko's got a very strong team based in South Africa. So in this particular case, we didn't have to go through the process for the Jinko product range. They already hold it. And to answer your question, it's also on the City of Cape Town's list already. So not only is the NRS there, but you can use it in Cape Town, which is even more strict. We're very lucky in this particular case. Normally play is we would give the local requirement.
I think we have an internet connection with. We can't hear you with. James, if you just repeat the answer in the end, maybe putting your camera off a bit. It seems like you have a poor internet.
Certainly, yeah. I must apologize to everybody. I was facing some difficulties earlier with it. Yeah, so we're very lucky. Not only do we have a good, strong Jinko team in South Africa that actually did the work for us, and not only is the NRS there, but the system is already on the City of Cape Town list. So you'll be happy to know that, Peter, for projects that you've got there, which are even more strict. To answer your question, Monif, what we would normally do, though, is we would deal with the regulatory requirements. We would interface between the OEM and the local community or local country on the regulatory requirements. But then we go a step further as well. So there's one thing is to comply to the regulations, but another thing is for applicability. So we dealt with a lot of different manufacturers as well, where they have a shutdown and a transfer time, which is great if you're using something for on-grid application. But if you've got 2 or 3 grid outages per day, it's very important that we look at seamless transfer. And I mean, the Jinko team will support this, but it's less than 20 milliseconds or transfer time on a hundreds of kilowatt system, which is incredibly valuable, and it opens up an entire customer base that don't have to have their building shut down and start up again 30 seconds later.
Understood. Thank you for that, James. And if anyone has any questions, I encourage them to also contact you directly, and anyone on the panel, you see their emails on the screen. Then please take note of them so we can reach out in case you have certain demand for a certain project. I'll move then now with the question to Pauline, and 2 more questions, and then we'll wrap up this session. Apologies for keeping you a few minutes late in here. I'll move to Pauline. Pauline, I've got a question from Kissy Amy Kwame. It's in French, but in English, what she asked for is, are there, let's say, any smaller scale of Jinko products that are more suitable for residential applications or buildings in general, like a school or a church or so?
Yes, we have residential products. From my presentation, I shared we have solutions from 1 kilowatt hours to 50 kilowatt hours. So the product range that we have for inverters is between 3 kilowatt up to 12 kilowatt. And for the battery, it starts as low as 4.8 kilowatt hours. And we also have a 5.12 kilowatt hours. That is for the basic residential or basic domestic system. But these batteries can be stacked up to 16 modules.
Up to 16 modules. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And another question that I would like to ask you from Musa Amar, asking about the afterlife of this, let's say, batteries, like what happens in the end of life of energy storage typically?
Okay, so currently we are a member of PV Cycle in Europe, and the global scale just to assist in recycling, but also in-house. We are also currently working on a recycling plant for PV and for both PV and batteries.
Perfect. And and this means that Jinko kind of covers on the whole value chain. So you provide the solution, you have a local team that is trained in order to train the client to help them with their design, the commissioning. Later on, as also I heard from Adish Kumar about the O&M phase, that also having the people in country helps to get that sorted out, especially when it comes to compatibility issues, as you are a whole solution provider.
Yeah, and also not to forget that we are the first manufacturer to go in the business of end of life recycling. Yeah.
Nice. I think it's something that we did not talk much about during the session today, but we'll make sure in the coming sessions to focus more about it, since it is in the beginning probably not a big concern, but now as installations grow in terms of capacity, then this would become a concern for local communities to see the socially responsible companies that are actually bringing that, let's say, project and the product till the end of life in a sustainable way. Thank you for that, Pauline. Appreciate the answer here. I'll move the last question to Adish Kumar. Apart from Hamid from Nigeria, who's asking how to work for your company for Paras Energy. You see the email, like I think you just drop the email to the team. Definitely we'll get back to you. There's another question that came from Mr. Ibrahim, who's asking, when you did this comparison and you showed the 3-year payback in your case, what is the diesel price that you have assumed in that calculation?
So we assumed around $1.05 in our calculation per liter, and again the efficiency of the generators like SFC will be around 2.5 to 3. That brings to cost of around $0.35 to around $0.4.
And and I think there are no indicators of fuel prices even actually going down. It's like with all what's going on with the geopolitical situation in the regions, and it is, I think, expected that these solutions of solar and storage would make more sense as we move forward. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Adish Kumar, for the answer, and I wish to thank the audience today. Hundreds of people watched us today through Zoom and social media on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, on Facebook. I'm happy for delivering this session. I've found it myself informative, learned a lot from the esteemed speakers that we had today, which I wish to thank one more time, starting with Andre Adrianse from Jinko Solar, then James Shirley from Hodako Energy, and then Pauline Mew from Jinko Solar, and Adish Kumar from Paras Energy. You have given us a very nice overview from multiple perspectives, from perspective of a manufacturer, an EPC, and a distributor, in order to shed some more light into solar plus energy storage. Thank you very much. I wish you all a very good day, and looking forward to meeting with you all in our upcoming webinars dedicated for the sub-Saharan region in Africa. Thank you.